you've seen the declaration of the Iranian Solidarity, which is effectively trying to summarize what we think is a minimum to actually allow Iranian society to actually move forward. Clearly, there are what's happened in Iran. It is a mixture of sacrifice. If people dare to come on the street battles, all of those. There's gunpowder on the streets every day. It's amazing scenes going on. Despite that, there are real political forces in operation. There's on one side you have Iranian government try to distort, first of all, physically get rid of opposition and demonstrators and protesters, ban any sign, any means of communication. They do not allow, the basic movements to some extent. Actually, they've started to actually break up smaller groups of people walking on the streets, physically attacking people. We know that during the last month, all the means of communication, in terms of phone, normal landlines were shut down for 2-3 weeks. I managed to speak to my family after the first 2 weeks. They opened the normal sort of landlines. Twitter, Facebook, and text messaging, which was a means of the communication between young people, that was all banned, and tried to sort of censor that. Despite that, there's been a lot of this is the first time that we've seen in history, possibly, correct me if I'm wrong, that there's been an international sort of gathering and focus and attention and communication that people have actually used to direct and to support what's happening in Iran, and people actually actively use this to the limit. To the point that Twitter wanted to change its server engine. They couldn't because of the volume of things, and had they done that, it would have disrupted what was going on in Iran. So I think they decided wisely not to do that. And the demands here we have on one side, you had the Iranian government trying to distort what's going on in Iran and present a different picture. But at the same time, because of the information technology, because of the availability of all these resources, people have seen for the first time minute by minute reporting of what's going on, and they've actually seen plainly what's happening, and the desire of people in Iran to be free of Islamic rules and Islamic government, a religious government. And I think the declaration captures that. Not only captures the mood, but also sets a standard for anybody else who claims to have an interest in this movement, has a claim, the interest of the future welfare of the Iranian people, to actually, it could be judged by these, are they happy for these things to happen? And these are the basic minimums. They're not controversial, I hope, and there are basic minimums that we could actually discuss. You have copies. I wouldn't take your time of taking it through that. So this is where we are. We're trying to launch Iranian Solidarity, and one of the reasons for necessity of this campaign has been we've seen an outpouring of self-sympathy, international sympathy. People everywhere, they've actually supported this movement, and they've seen this movement, and they want to do something. We thought, this is it. Let's set the standard. Let's bring an organization that actually captures all of that, unifies everything. I mean, the purpose of this is actually to unify all that outpouring of sympathy. To help what's happening in Iran. There's another dimension to this, is the international situation. Islamic movement, it's been an international movement. The feat of Islamic movement would be an international issue as well. I think it would have a major impact for the welfare of people in the Middle East and everywhere. In Bradford, Leeds, America, Europe, countries in the Middle East, everywhere. If this movement, from what we can see, is going to break the back of the political Islamic movement, and we need to I would celebrate that, and I'm sure many people across the world would do that. 6 months ago, there was a 3-part series produced by BBC on Iran, different episodes about nuclear war, Iranian revolution, and sort of relationship with the West, sort of Iran and the West. And there was also a Saatchi gallery on the art of the Middle East, and BBC Persian Service has been launched. I was asked to go out and speak at Radio 3 about the whole package of what's going on. I had difficulty convincing and debating that Iran is not an Islamic society. And if you actually put your ears to the ground, you hear the trembling of something else, despite the fact of the coverage and dictatorship and the fact that it wasn't in the news. A lot of people actually agreed with us, but in general, sort of population of the world, media, the whole thing was just as if there's only nuclear issue, there's Islamic regime, and this is bubbling from beneath. Again, Islamic regime, it's part and parcel of what people want. And that's what we're trying to convince people, that actually that there is something else going on. Listen to the Footstep people, and people are making it very clearly that they want something else. This government, it doesn't belong to that society. It's something else, and people in Iran, majority of them, want to be free, simply to be free. And now we can see 6 months, and within a month, 4 weeks, the image has changed. Image of Iran as a society, image of Iran as what they want, and image of the fact that Islamic government in Iran is not part and parcel of the Iranian society, and actually people reject that wholeheartedly. Of course, there was opportunity of election, and that gives a pretext, an excuse for people to actually use that environment to come out. When I was saying these, I was commenting on these. It was actually difficult to convince people, but here we are. I think I'm sure we'll have opportunity to debate this in great detail.